Ever feel like that good life everyone talks about is getting harder and harder to reach?
Yeah.
Like, actually afford it.
Yeah, totally.
That's exactly what we're diving into today, exploring the Philippines as a potential answer.
Okay.
And we're hearing this all through the experience of someone who actually took the leap and lived there.
Right. First-hand account. That's key. We're not talking about like some glossy brochure, but the actual nitty-gritty reality.
Exactly. Exactly. We're really diving deep into Chad Foster's YouTube channel, Chad Foster Explores.
Okay.
And he's so incredibly upfront about, both the dream and the reality of what it's like living in the Philippines.
Mm.
And he starts by, asking this question I think a lot of us can relate to. Life in Canada, objectively, it's good.
Yeah.
But it's crazy expensive. So was there a better trade-off out there?
I like how he frames that. You
Yeah.
know, he's not coming from a place of like hardship or anything,
Right.
but just that realization that even with a good income, really enjoying life in a place like Canada,
Yeah.
it's constant uphill battle. He gives this example of a simple meal out with his dad cost them $30. Just a casual thing.
It adds up. And, oh my gosh, don't even get me started on housing. He was visiting his brother, who is doing well for himself.
Yeah.
And even a modest house in a good neighborhood was astronomically priced.
Oh, wow.
It makes you wonder, what are we even working for if basic enjoyment is a stretch?
Yeah, for real. And that's where the Philippines comes in, right?
Yeah.
Suddenly, that same income goes so much further.
Right.
It's not just about saving money, though. It's about the different quality of life it allows.
Okay, so let's dive into the good stuff first. What did Chad actually love about living in the Philippines?
Well, something that really comes through in his videos is how warm and friendly the people are.
Yeah.
He talks about how welcoming and inclusive everyone is.
Yeah.
And, for someone navigating a new culture, that can make all the difference.
Absolutely. It's that sense of community, right?
Mm.
Feeling like you belong, which is, crucial when you're far from your usual support system.
For sure. And then, of course, there's the natural beauty. The beaches, waterfalls, the landscapes.
Yeah.
It all lives up to the hype.
Oh, yeah. He's got some seriously stunning visuals on his channel.
Yeah.
It's that classic image of paradise, right? But what I appreciate is that he doesn't shy away from the, let's call it the less glamorous side.
Right.
He calls them these hard truths, which honestly, I kind of love that. It makes it even more intriguing.
Yeah.
So what kind of manageably annoying stuff are we talking about here?
Well, one thing that stuck out to me was his experience with the infrastructure, like the internet being unreliable.
Oh, yeah.
Power outages. Things that, a lot of Westerners take for granted. It's just part of life there.
It really forces you to adapt, I imagine. Be more flexible.
Totally. You can't rely on things always running perfectly smoothly. And it speaks to that whole slower pace of life he talks about, too.
Yeah.
That island time mentality. Patience is definitely a virtue in the Philippines. He also talks about cleanliness being an issue, especially, once you get outside those pristine tourist zones.
Right.
He was actually shocked by the amount of garbage he came across, and this is someone who's well-traveled.
See, that's interesting because it really challenges our perceptions.
Mm.
We have this picture of paradise,
Mm.
but even paradise has, a less glamorous side. What other hard truths does he bring up? So it's picture perfect beaches on one hand,
Right.
and then piles of trash just a stone's throw away.
It's about managing those expectations. He also talks a lot about noise, constantly.
Oh, yeah.
Roosters, dogs barking, karaoke blasting at all hours, apparently.
That constant background hum. I can see that would be jarring if you're not used to it.
Totally a sensory overload. It makes you wonder, how did he deal with all this? He seems to have genuinely enjoyed his time.
Yeah, he must have figured out ways to make it work.
He talks about this idea of building a bubble, which I
Yeah.
thought was interesting.
Okay.
Basically, accepting that you can't control everything, especially in a new culture, and instead focusing on creating your own little haven within that environment.
Choosing your battles.
Yeah.
Focusing on what you can control. What were some of the ways he built this bubble?
Well, since hiring help is so affordable there, he was able to outsource a lot of the things that might have caused him stress.
Okay. Yeah.
He mentions having a live-in cleaner and cook for about $200 a month.
Wow. That really changes the conversation around the cost of living, doesn't it?
Right.
It's not just about saving money, but how that affordability translates to an actual, higher quality of life.
Exactly.
Imagine having those extra hours in your week, to work on your passions or just relax.
For sure. He even talks about, like, when he goes back, he's considering hiring a personal chef and shopper.
Yeah.
He's all about prioritizing his well-being, making sure he has access to healthy, delicious meals without the hassle.
It's like he's designing a life that truly aligns with his values. That's something I think we can all learn from.
Absolutely. It speaks to being adaptable, resourceful. He even shares this great story about visiting El Nido, Palawan.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful spot.
Right. The beaches, crystal clear water, the whole paradise package. But then just a few feet away from all the touristy stuff. Totally different story. Piles of garbage, unfinished construction. The reality behind the postcard,
Right. Even paradise has its rough edges.
Exactly. And that's what I appreciate about his approach. He's not sugarcoating anything. He's all about going in with open eyes.
Yeah, understanding the culture, being prepared for those manageably annoying bits. It's about finding that balance.
Exactly. Accepting the good with the manageably annoying, as he says,
Yeah.
and figuring out what you're willing to adapt to.
It seems like he was really drawn to the Philippines, even with the downsides.
For sure. He even talks about how he went back to Canada for a visit, experienced the safety, the cleanliness, the food.
Yeah.
And he still felt this pull back to the Philippines.
There's something to be said about a place that draws you in like that.
It's about finding the right fit,
Yeah.
It might not be for everyone, but for some people, that combination just clicks.
And it sounds like he's putting his money where his mouth is, not just talking about it, but actively planning his return.
Oh, yeah. He's talking about maybe buying land, building a place that's like tailored to his needs, his own little haven.
Taking that building a bubble thing to a whole new level.
Yeah.
I'm curious, what kind of content does he actually share on his channel?
Yeah.
It's one thing to dream about a simpler life.
Yeah.
But he's figuring out how to actually make it happen.
Totally.
So does he get into the details on his channel? Like what kind of stuff are we talking? Is it mostly travel vlogs?
It's actually a lot deeper than that.
Yeah.
His YouTube channel description, it really stood out to me.
Yeah.
He's really focused on the realities of expat life.
Okay.
Specifically in Southeast Asia, with the Philippines as his home base. And it's not about those glossy travel brochures, It's about the day-to-day, what it's really like to live there.
So he's keeping it real.
Exactly. And his content, it covers a lot of ground.
Okay.
Dealing with the lower cost of living, navigating the dating scene, traveling within the region, just figuring out the logistics of life as an expat.
He's really painting a picture.
Yeah, a very comprehensive picture.
And that's got to be so helpful for people considering a big move like that.
Absolutely. Especially for our listeners today, right? Someone may be thinking about a location-independent lifestyle.
Yeah.
Maybe even becoming a digital nomad.
That's the dream.
His experience, his focus on the Philippines, it could be really valuable.
Totally. He's not just talking about it, he's living it.
Exactly, walking the walk.
And the fact that he's actively working towards creating his own setup, buying land, building a house, tailored to his needs.
It shows it's possible. You can really shape your experience over time if you put in the work.
It's almost like he's saying, look, it's not always going to be easy. There will be challenges.
Right.
But if you're adaptable, if you're resourceful, a little creative, you can not just survive, but thrive in a place like the Philippines.
Exactly. It's about taking control, finding what works for you.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Chad's world, I guess the question for our listener is, does the Philippines resonate? Is this calling your name?
It's a personal journey, figuring that out.
For sure.
But hopefully we've given you a more realistic perspective today.
Definitely.
Exploring both the incredible opportunities and the challenges.
Yeah, warts and all.
It's not about finding the perfect place because that doesn't exist.
Right.
It's about that fit.
Your priorities, your personality.
Exactly.
Yeah, your budget.
The Philippines might not be for everyone.
Sure.
But for the right person, it could be an amazing chance to build a truly fulfilling life.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So keep exploring.
Stay curious.
Be open to the possibilities.
And hey, maybe, just maybe, the Philippines will surprise you.
You never know.
Until our next deep dive.